And the recording will be available on our pre-arrival program website as well. And the link for that has been pasted in the chat. Now, allow me to introduce the dedicated York International team. First, we have Eugene Lee, who is the International Orientation and Conversion Coordinator. As previously mentioned, I am Rachel, and here's my colleague Parry, who is also a student coordinator for the team. By the end of this webinar, we expect for you to have a better grasp about the expected cost of living in Canada so you can plan accordingly. We'll also provide details about financial aid options specifically available for international students, as well as introduce key resources for financial planning to help you make more informed financial decisions during your time at York University. In addition, our agenda for today includes an informative presentation on financial expectations at York University, and while we're focusing on what international students can anticipate in terms of cost and living expenses and tuition. And then we'll cover the resources available for financial planning. Afterwards, we'll have a Q&A session to address any concerns you may have. And then we're going to wrap it up with some information about upcoming webinars and events. So we'll begin by inviting Karen Warren from the Student Financial Services at York University. The floor is yours, Karen.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Let's see if I do have option. Sorry, just checking to make sure I can click through the screens. So my name is Karen Warner. I'm coming to you from Student Financial Services here at York University, and I'm just going to give you a quick overview, as Rachel has said, on estimated expenses as a student living here in Canada, what we have to offer in terms of scholarships, awards, and bursaries, and other financial supports to students. Our work study program, which is a valuable program here at the university, gives students an opportunity to engage in part-time employment while they're here to help them, earn some income and also get some valuable work experience. And then we're going to take a look briefly at your York student account. So what does that look like in terms of how and when you can make payments to your student account? So the first thing we're going to look at is tuition. So these are the tuition values based on the 26-27 tuition. Tuition at York University is charged on a per credit basis. So what you're looking at, or these values, are reflective of a student taking what we consider 100% course load, which is 30 credits, 36 credits for engineering for their first year. So again, the only program that has a flat rate tuition is our Bachelor of Design program. For all of our other programs, your tuition will be dependent on how many credits you enroll in. So as international students, you of course do need to maintain full-time enrollment, which at York is a minimum of 18 credits for the academic year, which is a 60% course load. And so the amount of tuition that you're going to be charged will be dependent on what you decide to enroll in. So this is really like a maximum if you're taking 100% course load. And so for most of our liberal arts and sciences program, you can see it's about 41,500 for this coming fall. And then for some of our more professional programs, our business, computer science, and engineering, you'll see some variances in the amount of tuition that's being charged. Then we give you an estimate of books and fees, additional course material fees, etc., that may be charged for the academic year. This is for the academic year. That's the other thing. Students often ask if this is per semester. This is for an academic year, September to April, what you're seeing here. Books, of course, are a variable cost. You can source books, elsewhere outside of our bookstore to help reduce some of your costs there. So you can keep that in mind. And also, our bookstore does have a buyback program. So students do sell their books back to the bookstore, and then you can purchase the used book at a reduced rate. So there's a couple of options there to reduce some costs around the book expenses. The next thing is thinking about your living accommodations and what that's going to look like. So again, these are the values based on our fees for 26-27, so starting this fall. So we have a number of residence options. The residences tend to be associated with your faculty or program of study. Some of them are suite style where you can, you don't necessarily need to purchase a meal plan. They will have a kitchen, but for most of them, there is no cooking facilities for you. So you will have your residence fee, and then you will also need to purchase a meal plan, which is basically, the funds are added to your student account, to your student card, and you can go to any of the eateries on campus, which are many, and just, purchase your meals from there. So that is one option. We do also have the option for students who elect to live off of campus. We've given you a bit of information about what that costs, and these are based on, the average cost of a one-bedroom or bachelor apartment in the Toronto area. So we've given you a bit of an estimate there. And then, of course, your personal expenses, cell phone, transportation, entertainment, etc. And then for all of our international students, there is mandatory health and dental care. So you pay your UHIP and you also pay the YFS health plan. And so the combined charge is around that $1,070. And that provides you with coverage from September 1st through to August 31st of the next year. So in terms of resources, right now, students coming into York University, if you're a high school applicant coming to York, you will be automatically assessed for one of our automatic entrance scholarships. So depending on where your average falls. Now, be mindful that we're basing it on our curriculum. So if you may be a 95% student in your curriculum, but when we do the conversion, it may put you at a different value. So we are getting some questions from students who are saying, my transcript is reflecting one thing, but my scholarship value is something different. Anytime you're submitting it, we're converting that onto a Canadian curriculum. So for students coming in with an 80 to 89.9%, you're going to get a renewable scholarship of $10,000 in the first year and then renewable at $5,000 for your remaining years. And for students coming in with a 90% average or higher, it's going to be $15,000 for your first year and $7,500 each year renewable. So when you are here, you do need to maintain a B plus average to continue to renew the scholarship, and we will automatically assess your eligibility for renewal at the end of the academic year. The other thing is that it's also regainable. So if you fail to meet the renewal criteria in any given year, but you bring your average up in your next year of study, we will reinstate the scholarship for you. So we also have for students coming in at 75 to 79.9%, we give you a one-time only scholarship of $5,000 in your first year. And for our transfer students, college or university transfer international, you get $2,500 one time only. There's a number of conditions around those scholarships. So first, of course, you must accept your offer of admission and you must pay your $2,000 non-refundable acceptance deposit for you to receive your scholarship. You must also enroll as a full-time student. So that means you must be in a minimum of 18 credits for the academic year. These scholarships are also only applicable to students who are paying international tuition rates. So if you are an international applicant, but you are going to be able to qualify for domestic tuition under any number of grounds that we have available, the scholarship will be reversed. And lastly, you must satisfy all conditions that are outlined in your admissions offer. So if we are waiting for a final transcript, for example, if that transcript does not come in by the deadline date, you will basically be forfeiting your scholarship. So be mindful of all of those things. Pay your deposit, make sure you submitted all required documentation for your admission conditions, make sure you're enrolling full time. And again, the tuition, if you happen to change your tuition status, then you may lose that scholarship. These scholarships cannot be held in conjunction with our President's International Scholarship of Excellence. So if you have applied for that scholarship and have been selected to receive that scholarship, they cannot be added on top of the automatic scholarship. It would replace the offer for the automatic scholarships. Oh my, can somebody move to the next slide for me? It doesn't seem, there we go. Thank you. So there are other opportunities for students to get funding through our scholarships and awards. That's just our entrance award scholarship. We have scholarship opportunities available for students every year. We have what is called FAS, our Financial Aid Awards and Scholarships application. So you will have an opportunity to apply for scholarship funding for the fall. As of August the 1st, you can go in and complete the FAS application. There's two components to the FAS application. One is completing the student profile itself. So in the student profile, there's a number of tabs. One is engagement, for example. So we ask you to give us information about all of your extracurricular activities and volunteer work that you've engaged in. And there's also a personal information tab, which has a number of optional questions, which are the information that we're gathering there is really just used to help us match you to funding opportunities. But some examples is, are you a first generation student? Meaning, are you the first generation in your family to attend post-secondary? So your mom and dad did not attend college or university. Are you a student with a disability? Are you a student who is Black or Indigenous? We have some awards specifically for that. So there's a number of questions, as I said, in there. So we do encourage you to submit that particular part of the application, but again, it is optional. We do encourage you to complete the engagement section. And then most importantly, there is a finance tab where we ask you to submit a need assessment. Many of our awards do have a financial need component or criteria to them. So it's really important that you do the need assessment. Now, the student profile itself, once you've submitted the profile, you really do not need to submit the profile again in terms of the engagement sections and those other sections. We do encourage you to review it every year. And you can update it. So if you've done, you come to York and you become highly engaged in the York community, you would want to update your FAS application every year, particularly that engagement section to show us what you're doing currently. But every year, a student does need to submit a new need assessment. So you will see notifications coming out encouraging you to complete the FAS application. Many of our awards are geared towards our domestic student, but when you look at the awards, we have an award search tool where you can look at the awards, and we literally have thousands of awards available to students. In the award search, you will see the public description of the award. If it doesn't say anything specific related to immigration status requirements, then it is open to all students. So as long as it does not specifically say it is for a domestic student, then any student, any qualified student will be considered for that award. The other type of funding that we give out is bursary funding. So bursary funding is financial needs-based aid. And so all students who apply on the FAS application and complete a need assessment and demonstrate financial need will automatically be considered for bursary support. One of the things I would caution when you're doing your FAS application is quite often students go in and they fill out the need assessment and they say, like, I have $1,000 of resources to come to school. Well, in reality, you did not come to school studying in another country with only $1,000 available to you to help support. So we ask you to be honest and be realistic. We do expect students to have funds available from their own resources to help pay for school. So a student who indicates they have little or no resources, we really consider that an incomplete application because quite often a student says that, and then we look at their student account and we see that they've made significant payments to their student account. So they obviously have resources. So we just ask you to be honest when you're filling out the application, and accurately report what you have available to you so that we can make an honest assessment on your behalf. Next slide, please. Okay, so anytime you're receiving any kind of funding from the university, you will typically be notified, obviously, if you've been selected to receive an award. So if you apply through the FAS application, you will receive a notification either by email or in the FAS portal itself. So if you've applied for an award through the FAS portal, once we make a decision on who's going to receive that award, we will update the decision and that decision will be reflected in the portal. Or you may receive an email. Typically, if you have been selected to receive something, you will be notified by email. Any funding that we give to a student automatically gets posted to their student account and is first applied to any balance that they have outstanding to the university. So if you receive a scholarship, any of those automatic entrance scholarships, for example, we will be applying those scholarships to the York student account in August. so that when you get your bill in August, the scholarship funds will already be there and that the balance that you're seeing has already taken into account the scholarship money. That is the remaining balance after the scholarship funds have been applied. We do encourage students, of course, when they come to Canada to obtain a Canadian bank account. And if you visit our refunds page, once you get here and you have that Canadian bank account, you will see that we have an option for students to be able to provide the university with their banking information, which is really key. Like if you come to us at some point and you need supports or you're selected to receive an award, and at that point you've already cleared all of your balance, so that money is going to you. This allows us to be able to release the funds to you directly by depositing them into your bank account. So it is something you're going to need to keep in mind when you come to make sure you set up that bank account and to let the university know what your banking information is so that we can go ahead and deposit the funds directly to you. Next slide. Okay, so I'm going to move now into our work study program. So York University has a very robust work study program, as I mentioned at the top of the presentation. So this is a part-time employment program for our undergraduate students. It is available to all undergraduate students, so domestic and international students can participate in the program. And under the program, we have three specific types of work experiences. So one is RAY, which is our research at York, where a student will work on a research project alongside one of our faculty members and our graduate and undergraduate students. So that's a really valuable experience to supplement what you're learning in the classroom. We have LEAP, which is our Leadership Engagement and Ambassadorship Program. So these are really our student leaders who are leading projects, leading sessions for other students, etc. So we have those opportunities. And then we have general work study. General work study is still a valuable work experience. It's more administrative in nature. So those types of employment opportunities are where you might be working in one of our administrative offices, supporting our full-time staff in the work that they're doing. All of these, again, are paid employment opportunities. The program runs through the fall, winter, and into the summer. During the fall, winter, we do cap the number of hours that a student can work. So it's capped at about 15 hours a week for fall, winter. Though if you're here for the summer, there are full-time employment opportunities available to students through the work study program. And for our international students, in terms of eligibility, can you just go to the next slide for me? There's a couple of things. For our domestic students, the program is open to both full-time and part-time students. But for our international students, you must be a full-time student to participate in the program. And you must have a valid study permit that has conditions on it that permit you to work in Canada. So when you submit, when you're applying for work study, there's kind of a two-pronged process. One is submitting the work study application. That application is really going to just do two things. We're going to check your enrollment to make sure that you're meeting the enrollment threshold, that you have that minimum 18 credits, 12 credits if you're a student with a disability. And secondly, we're going to ask you to provide us with a copy of your study permit so that we can ensure that that condition is on the study permit and we can keep track of that eligibility. The second part of the process is really just to apply directly for the employment opportunities. So the jobs are available on, okay, skip to the next slide. Let me just see if I put it on the next slide. The application for, or the job opportunities for our work study and LEAP positions are available on the York University Employee Career Portal. So the same place where I might go if I was looking to see what other job opportunities are available for me, we list all of our work study and LEAP positions. So as you see along the left-hand side, there's a search tool and you can actually select work study, LEAP, and general work study, and it will provide you with a full list of all of the work opportunities that are available. So for the fall, we were looking at probably mid-July before you can start applying for fall work opportunities. Again, you'll just go to our work study page. You'll see the link for the actual work study application itself, and then you can start visiting the career site to see what actual positions are open. You'll go in, you'll create a profile on the career site. You'll upload your resume and your cover letter. and you will just apply to whatever opportunities are of interest to you. And then you'll go through a normal process. The department will vet the resumes. They'll reach out to candidates that they're interested in to set up an interview process, and you'll go through a normal hiring process. For our RAY positions, those positions are available on our Career Center site. They're set up and they're presented to students a little differently because, of course, it's a research opportunity. So you need to be able to understand what the research project is and the skill sets that you will need to be able to perform the job related to the RAY. So there are two different places that you'll need to go depending on the type of experience you're looking for. But all of that information is available on the work study site. The work study program has been around for a long time. It's a wonderful opportunity, as I've said, to earn some extra income to supplement whatever resources you already have, but also to build connections at the university. And there are many opportunities available. And quite often, once you are hired into a department as a work study student, you will continue to work with that department for a couple of years as long as you continue to be work study eligible. So definitely something to keep on your radar if you are thinking that you're going to need to get a job when you come to Canada. Next slide. Okay, so the last part of the presentation today is really just going to talk about your York student account. So if you are abroad and you're making payments, so for example, you've accepted your offer of admission and you know that the first thing you need to do is pay that $2,000 deposit. And if I haven't mentioned it before, that $2,000 deposit is not an additional charge. It actually gets applied towards your tuition. So it will automatically be applied to whatever courses you add to reduce that balance. We do have partnerships with CIBC and Convera to allow international students to make payments from outside of the country. So we encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity. All transactions will be reflected on your York student account. So when you start adding your courses, you will see them added onto the student accounts bill. Any tuition related to that, any awards that you receive, as I mentioned, will be applied directly to your student account. If you elect to live in residence and you purchase a meal plan, those will all be charged to your student account. So for the fall, let's go to the next slide. You will be making your first tuition payment on September 10th. Okay, so after you made your initial deposit for your tuition, you may have other charges that you need to pay for. So if you are going into residence, for example, you will have to pay a deposit for your housing. So that goes directly to housing, I believe, but it will also reduce gets applied to that housing charge. In terms of tuition, you will get a statement in August. We don't issue paper statements or mail. We don't mail out statements. You will get an email that basically says your statement is now available for you to view. You can log in to see your statement through your secure Passport York account access. And on there, you will see two versions of the statement. You can look at a transactions view, which is a full view of all payments or all charges to that account. So everything that has happened on your student account will be fully listed under the transactions view, or you can look at the statement view. So the statement view is similar to, if you get any kind of bill, a cell phone bill, that monthly invoice that shows all of your transactions since the last payment date. So that statement in August will have a September 10th due date on it. And that is for, as you can see here, 50% of any full year courses. So any courses that you're taking that are for September to April, you'll pay 50% of that in September. And if you're in residence and have a meal plan, you'll pay 50% of those in September. If you have any fall courses, so courses that start September and end in December, 100% of that course will be due on September 10th. And then our next major billing date is January 10th. So January 10th, you'll pay the remaining 50% of your full year courses, your housing, your residence, and your meal plan. And if you have any winter courses, so courses that start in January and end in April, you'll pay those in January. So students often ask me if, I'm paying 50% and 50% in the fall and 50% in the winter. It really depends on your course enrollment. If you take a heavier course load in one term over another, you're going to owe more in that term. In terms of payment arrangements or making a payment plan, you can pay the account off in monthly installments, but the account will be subject to a monthly late fee at a rate of 1.09%. So whatever, we encourage you to pay as much as you can by the September 10th due date. If you're unable to pay the full outstanding balance by that date, whatever balance is remaining will be subject to a late fee. And then at certain points in the academic year, we do put academic or financial blocks on an account. So the threshold for international students is $3,500. So for example, when we move into our winter term, come February, if you have a balance that exceeds that $3,500 threshold, we will put up a block, which means you won't be able to add any courses for the summer session until you bring that balance below that $3,500. Okay, next slide. Okay, so if you have any questions while you're at York about your student account, about making payments, about applying for scholarships and awards, etc., the main point of contact for students is our student advising area. I'm sorry, I don't have student support and advising, which is located in the Bennett Center for Student Services. And there's a number of ways that you can get a hold of them. They do have an email account that you can reach out to them directly. You can come in person or book an appointment virtually to see somebody there, or you can call them. They have a call center. And then for scholarships, awards, and bursaries, you can reach us directly at fas@yorku.ca if you have any questions around that, and we can provide assistance to you through email also. So I'm going to turn the presentation back over to Rachel, and I'll be here to answer any questions at the end of the presentation for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen, for the insightful presentation on financial expectations and scholarship aid for international students. Now, I would like to shift our focus to various tips available for help students, especially international students, manage their finances while in Toronto. My team and I have put together a list of practical money saving tips that have been valuable to us throughout our years living in Canada. And just a quick reminder, please continue to submit your questions using the Q&A feature. And in addition, while we're providing links to student discounts in the chat, York International does not endorse or take liability for any of these websites or offers. It is the student's responsibility to use these resources with caution. One of the biggest concerns for both international students and residents in general is the high cost of food. So a key tip that most people already know, but we often overlook, is that cooking at home can save a significant amount of money. So for example, a standard fast food meal costs around $20, and with the same amount, you could purchase essentials such as a carton of eggs, a bag of milk, a loaf of bread, and some fresh vegetables. So cooking at home not only saves you money, but also allows you to control the ingredients and making your meals healthier. And of course, it's okay to treat yourself for a meal out, especially during special occasions or when you're too busy studying for exams. However, for day-to-day meals, grocery shopping is more cost-effective. And when grocery shopping, always check out flyers for deals and compare prices between stores. Many grocery stores offer reward programs, so downloading their apps can help you accumulate points for discounts. So some budget-friendly grocery stores commonly visited by students in Canada include No Frills, Fresco, Food Bases, and Walmart. And these stores provide a wide range of affordable food options without compromising quality. And before making a purchase, whether it's a museum ticket, a streaming service subscription, or a transportation pass, always check if there's a student discount available. Many businesses in Toronto offers discounts for students, so always carry your student ID with you around when you're traveling around the city. So here are some popular student discounts. For example, entertainment, many museums, cinemas, concerts, and parks offer student discounts or free admission on certain days. In terms of transportation, you probably use the public transportation to travel around in Toronto a lot. So luckily, the public transit in Toronto offers student discount, helping you save compared to using taxis or ride-sharing apps like Uber or Lyft. And online subscriptions like YouTube Premium, Spotify, Netflix, Apple Music, Grammarly, and Uber One also provide student discount plans to help you save money. And finally, on campus, we have the York Federation of Students, the YFS, which is the undergraduate student representative at York University, and they offer discounts on fun experiences such as the NBA game ticket and theme park admissions. And sometimes we can get overwhelmed with a lot of stuff to buy, for example, like a friend's birthday present, new phones to treat ourselves after a very hard semester, or just essential school supplies that, such as textbooks, that your professors would base like 75% of your test on, or new furniture to make your room feel cozy and comfortable. All these purchases can add up and get out of hand easily. However, we have found ways to mitigate that burden. So, for example, you should plan your purchases. If it's not urgent or very essential, you could wait for big sales days like Black Friday or Boxing Day to get the best deals on expensive items. Black Friday is the day after Thanksgiving, which is the last Friday of November, and is a major shopping day in North America. While Boxing Day, which falls on December 26th every year, is a post-Christmas shopping holiday and is very popular in Canada. And also, if you are going to plan purchases, you could also consider buying secondhand. If you don't need certain items brand new, such as like textbooks or furnitures, you can always consider thrifting or purchasing secondhand items. And then after that, you could try to sell them to someone else after you no longer need them. While saving money is important, certain purchases like winter clothing are worth the investment. Winter in Canada can get really, really cold. However, it's all part of the experience, and with good quality winter clothing, your winter experience in Canada will be enjoyable. We recommend waiting until you arrive in Canada to buy winter clothing, as stores here offer items specifically designed for the Canadian climate. Although they may be more expensive, high quality winter gear can last for years. And what I find here that the snow is not cold, but it's usually the wind that makes the weather a bit harsh. And a good winter jacket can protect you from both the wind and the snow. I've never heard of such thing as black ice before I came here. And black ice is like a thin, nearly transparent layer of ice that forms on the surface of roads, sidewalks, and driveways, making it very difficult to see and extremely dangerous because it can cause vehicles and pedestrians to lose traction. So buying a good winter boot can prevent you from slipping on ice. All in all, good quality winter clothes are worth the purchase. So staying healthy and active on campus does not have to be expensive. York University offers various free or low-cost fitnesses and wellness resources. Fitness, York has three gyms, multiple studios for yoga and dance classes, and opportunities for intramural sports. Fitness classes, including yoga, dance, and spin, are also available. And all of this are included in the $25 package per year for students. This is extremely good because subscriptions to the gym studios here outside of the university are usually extremely pricey. Your Teaching's Kitchens also hosts free cooking classes with a registered dietitian and an on-campus executive chef. You can also explore new recipes and cultures through the Fuel Cookbook and Value program. And all of this can be found at the link dropped in the chat. In addition to mental health support, adjusting to life in Canada as an international student can get really, really overwhelming, but York provides free walk-in and virtual counseling sessions, support groups, and various health and wellness workshops. All the resources mentioned above will be placed in the chat, and by using all of these strategies, you can manage your finances effectively while maintaining a balanced and fulfilling student life at York University. We do have a resource guide that tells you exactly the name of the stores, places, and the services that offer student discounts and how much discounts they offer to students. And this resource guide, along with a recording of this presentation, will be uploaded to the pre-arrival website. Now, I know that was quite a lot of information, but we hope you had the opportunity to learn about some expectations of cost of living in Canada and some discounts to support international students. Now we'll open the floor for any questions that you may have. So please use the Q&A feature to submit your questions and we'll address them accordingly. Okay, I already see that some questions were already answered in the Q&A chat. That's wonderful. And just to recap today's session, we began by discussing the cost of living expectations for international students in Canada, providing an overview of typical expenses such as housing, food, and transportation. And then we explore the financial aid option available for international students and how you can access these resources. Finally, we highlighted some useful financial planning resources to help you manage your budget more effectively. And as we give everyone a bit of time to type in their remaining questions that they may have had over the course of the presentation, I'd like to go over a few common questions that we've received in previous webinars. And these might address some concerns that you haven't thought of yet, and hopefully they'll give you additional insights. So Karen, I'm going to start us off with one of our most common questions, which is, if York provided me with a scholarship, does the tuition fees on my admission letter include the deduction of the scholarship amount?
No, so the tuition amount that you'll see on your admission letter is again just an estimate based on what the tuition is at the time when we send you the offer, and it is not taking into account the scholarship amounts, which, as I mentioned earlier, will be automatically applied to your student account and applied to that tuition amount.
Perfect. And another question that we received is, does York's on-campus jobs also apply for graduate students as well?
Yeah, the work study program is specifically for our undergraduate students. Many of our graduate students are working as part of their funding package. So they're TA, they're doing a teaching assistantship or research assistantship that's part of their funding package. So they are not eligible to participate in the work study program, though of course they can use the services offered by Career Center or other areas to search for other employment opportunities, but not specifically through work study, no.
Perfect. We did receive just two questions now in the Q&A feature, and someone asked, I got admitted with a funding package. It wasn't stated that I should pay a deposit. So is it mandatory to pay a deposit regardless?
Yeah, the deposit that I'm referencing, the $2,000 deposit, is specific to undergraduate students. To be honest, I'm not sure that graduate students pay a deposit. If you don't see anything indicated in your package from graduate studies, then I would assume that you don't. But I would encourage you to follow up with graduate studies directly for that question because I'm not as aware of what's required at the graduate level.
Perfect. So we'll move on with a bit of the Q&A questions. And another question that we received is, how do tuition payments apply if I defer my admission to the next semester?
Sorry, I just have the Q&A here blocking me. Tuition payments apply if you defer. I mean, if you go through the formal process of deferring your admission to winter, then again, you'll just be responsible for whatever you enroll in for the winter courses, and the tuition due date will be January the 10th. So if you've paid a deposit, that deposit will transfer and be applied to whatever that winter tuition amount is.
Perfect.
I see a question. Oh, sorry. I see Eugen is answering it. There was a question about the dates for the winter semester. I don't think the schedule is not out yet for the fall winter 26, 27 in terms of our dates. So we can't answer right now in terms of when the final exams are, etc. The dates are typically towards the end of April is when our exam period runs to. And again, I think it's a little early to answer some of these questions about the last day to move out of residence, etc. All of that information will come to you, when you apply for housing and you get your information about that. You can visit the housing site. There is some information already available on the housing site relevant to housing for the 26-27 academic year. So there may be information in there about when is the last date to move out, etc.
Perfect. And another question that we get is, can the work study program take care of my expenses such as rent, groceries, and tuition payments?
Yeah, we're anything else that the university is giving you, as I mentioned, scholarships, awards, bursaries, those types of things are always going to be applied directly to your York student account. Through the work study program, as I said, that's employment, that's the job. So you're gonna provide your banking information and you're gonna get paid directly to your bank account on a bi-weekly basis. So yeah, of course, you're free to use that money for whatever you need it for. So yeah, if you'd have tuition and rent and other things, that's exactly what you would use the work study income for.
Perfect. I don't know if we have any more questions in the Q&A. So we're going to move on and say that if you like to refer to Karen's presentation for any information, again, feel free to visit our pre-arrival webinar website that has been linked in the chat for the PDF version of the slides, and you can also rewatch the recording at your best convenience. All right, thank you for those amazing questions. Again, please feel free to keep leaving your questions in the chat as we move on to the remaining portion of this webinar. We'll now look at a few of our upcoming webinars and events. And if just a small reminder that all the links for registration for these events will be placed in the chat. First, we have our Ask Us Anything applying for your first study permit session, where you can join licensed immigration advisors at York International to help you understand the process and get answers of applying for your study permit during an interactive Q&A session. This will take place on April 8th, 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Toronto time. Also, we'll be having a study permit application support session where you can learn how to navigate the application process, avoid mistakes, and get answers to your questions provided by licensed immigration advisor. This session will also be taking place on April 15 from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Toronto time. In addition to the list of study permit support sessions here at York International, we'll also be having a navigating study permit refusals for international student session. And this is specifically for incoming applicants who have had their study permit refused. You will once again join our licensed immigration advisors, and they will guide you on common reasons why you may have faced a refusal and how to enhance your reapplication for a better chance of success. And this will be taking place on April 17 from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Toronto time. And finally, an exciting time of the year, which is the summer 2026 International and Exchange Student Orientation. And this is a wonderful opportunity to meet fellow international students, build community and friendships, and learn important resources available to you at York University. This will take place on May 1st from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Toronto time. And while this is a great time for students coming in for the summer semester, please keep in mind that if you're resuming for the fall semester, which is in September, you have your own orientation, and more information regarding the fall orientation will be sent out soon. But this summer orientation is specifically for students who will begin their studies in the summer semester starting May. On our York International events calendar page, we have a date and time of other webinars that we have coming up. And you can also able to register for them through the links in the calendar. And before we wrap up, we would like to encourage everyone to stay connected with us through our social media channels. By following us, you receive important updates, events announcements, and opportunities to engage with your community. And before we end today's webinar, I'll take a quick look at the chat to see if there's any more last minute questions. And if you do have a last minute question, this is a good time to leave them now. Wonderful. Seeing as we have no more questions, oh, we do have a question. Yes. So fall 2026 orientation is August 31st, correct? And the first day of classes is September 9. This should all be in the key date, undergraduate dates, but I do believe the fall 2026 is around August 31st. And also the first day of classes will be around one of the beginning weeks of September. But more information, if you have any more specific questions, will be sent out. And any more questions can be put in the chat. All right. And seeing as we have no more questions, thank you all for attending our session today. We look forward to seeing you all at future events and webinars. Thank you for coming. Have a great rest of your day.